Chosen one, what if I told you that the next 24 hours will completely redefine everything you thought you knew about your life? What if the very breath you're taking right now is synchronized with a divine appointment that heaven scheduled before you were born? What if every single heartbreak, every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer was actually preparation for this exact moment? Before you scroll, breathe. What you're about to hear may define the rest of your life. You didn't click this. Heaven pulled you in, like a lighthouse through fog, cutting through the noise of 1,000 distractions to reach the one soul who needed to hear this today. This isn't algorithm. This isn't coincidence. This is a wake-up call from the throne room of God, and your name is written on it. You've fought battles no one knows. Behind closed doors, in the silence of 3 a.m., when the world sleeps but your soul wrestles, you've waited so long. Through seasons that felt like deserts, through promises that seemed to mock you with their delay, and you've wondered, God, did you forget me? But chosen one, lean in close. There's something hidden in your timeline that heaven has been orchestrating for decades, something the enemy fought desperately to keep buried. And it's about to erupt with such force that everyone who doubted you, everyone who overlooked you, everyone who said your time had passed, they're about to witness what happens when God says, now. I want to take a moment to thank every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, know that your contribution helps us reach more chosen ones who desperately need this word. But right now, if something inside you is stirring that unexplainable knowing, that spiritual electricity running through your bones, I need you to do something. If something inside you is saying, this is for me, type 777 in the comments. Don't just watch. Agree with heaven, mark this moment. Because what's about to unfold isn't just information, it's activation. The clock is ticking, the angels are moving. Your breakthrough has already left heaven's warehouse and it's speeding toward your address. But you must position yourself to receive it. This message will disappear soon. Not everyone will make it to the end. Some will scroll away and miss their moment. But if you're still here, if your spirit is burning, if tears are already forming, then heaven has chosen you for something that will shock not just you, but everyone watching your life. Stay with me. Your miracle has a name on it. Chosen one, what if I told you that right now, at this very second, there's a trial happening in the highest court of heaven with your name on the docket? What if every tear you've cried, every sin you've hidden, every failure that haunts you at 3 a.m. is being presented as evidence and not by a human prosecutor, but by the accuser of souls himself? What if your eternal destiny isn't waiting to be decided someday, but has already been sealed by a verdict so shocking that hell itself had to bow? Listen carefully, because what I'm about to reveal will shatter every lie you've believed about your standing with God. There exists a realm more real than the sidewalks of Manhattan, more active than the New York Stock Exchange, more decisive than the Supreme Court. It's the courtroom of heaven, and unlike our earthly courts with their delays and corruption, this one operates with perfect justice, perfect timing, and perfect love. The courtroom of heaven is not delayed, not corrupt. It's active and chosen one. Your file is open. Picture this, a vast chamber where eternity meets time, where angels stand as witnesses, where the prayers of generations echo like thunder. And there, before the judge of all creation, stands the prosecutor, Satan himself, the accuser of the brethren. He's been building his case against you for years, every moment of weakness catalogued, every broken promise highlighted, every secret sin projected in high definition before the throne. "Look at this one," the enemy hisses, pointing his twisted finger at your file. "Remember that abortion she never told anyone about? That affair he thought was hidden? The addiction they swore they'd beaten? The bitterness they've nursed for decades?" He spreads your failures across eternity like a deck of cards, each one seemingly proving you're unworthy of grace, unfit for purpose, unqualified for the promises God whispered over your life. And for a moment, just a moment, the weight of it all seems crushing, because every word is true. You did fail. You did fall. You did wander. The evidence is damning, and there's no defense attorney skilled enough to argue away facts written in the very fabric of time. But then, chosen one, then something happens that changes everything. From beside the throne, a figure rises. Nail-scarred hands lift toward heaven. The Son of God steps forward, and the atmosphere shifts like lightning splitting darkness. He doesn't argue the facts. He doesn't minimize your sins. He doesn't plea bargain with the accuser. Instead, Jesus Christ raises those pierced hands that still bear the marks of Calvary and speaks with authority that makes galaxies tremble. "I paid for this one. Every charge, every debt, every accusation. The price has been satisfied in full." The accuser's voice cracks. His evidence crumbles like ancient parchment touched by fire. Because there's a law higher than the law of sin and death, it's the law of love and sacrifice. And when perfect blood speaks, every other voice must fall silent. The judge, your Father, the Ancient of Days, looks at your file. He sees everything Satan presented. Nothing is hidden from his eyes. But then he does something that hell never saw coming. He doesn't bang the gavel out of wrath. He whispers it in love. "This one is mine." Say it aloud wherever you are right now. My case is closed. My name is cleared. My life is about to shift. Because this isn't theology, beloved. This is your reality. Romans 8:1 isn't just a verse to memorize, it's your legal standing in the courts of heaven. Therefore, there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Not reduced condemnation, not partial condemnation, no condemnation. Case dismissed, permanently. But God went further. Isaiah 44:22 declares what happened to your record. "I have swept away your offenses like a cloud, your sins like the morning mist." Not hidden, not covered up, not filed away for later review. Swept away, like fog burned off by the rising sun, like a dream that vanishes with the dawn. Do you understand what this means? While you've been living under the weight of guilt, while you've been disqualifying yourself from destiny, while you've been believing the accuser's whispers that you're too damaged, too old, too far gone, heaven has already ruled in your favor. The verdict isn't pending, it's final. And here's what's about to shock you. This ruling doesn't just clear your past, it unleashes your future. Every blessing that's been held in escrow, every promise delayed by accusation, every door that remained locked because the enemy kept bringing up your history, they're all about to burst open. Because when heaven says you're clear, hell has to get out of the way. The enemy may still whisper, he may still accuse, but he's arguing a case that's already been closed. He's presenting evidence that's already been dismissed. He's fighting a war that Christ already won. So, chosen one, why are you still living like a defendant when heaven has declared you a victor? Why are you still defending yourself when Christ already did? Why are you postponing your purpose when the judge of all creation just authorized your release? The divine verdict has been rendered. The spiritual shackles have been shattered. And what God is about to do in your life will shock everyone who thought your best days were behind you. Because when heaven closes your case, it opens your destiny. And beloved, Your destiny is about to explode into reality with such force that even your enemies will have to acknowledge the hand of God upon your life. But this verdict requires a response. Heaven has moved. Now you must move. The courtroom doors are opening. Your accuser has been silenced. The judge has smiled upon you. What happens next will determine whether you walk in the freedom that's been decreed or remain imprisoned by lies that no longer have legal standing. The gavel has fallen. The case is closed. Now watch what God does with a life that's been fully acquitted. Chosen one, why have you been bleeding in secret for so long? Why has every door slammed shut just when breakthrough seemed certain? Why has your body betrayed you with sickness that doctors can't explain, your family torn by conflicts that make no earthly sense, your finances drained by circumstances beyond your control? The answer will shake you to your core. You haven't been under attack because you're weak. You've been under attack because hell knows exactly who you are. The enemy doesn't waste ammunition on empty vessels. He doesn't deploy his finest warriors against those who pose no threat. The intensity of your warfare reveals the size of your calling. Think about it. Moses faced Pharaoh's magicians because he was destined to deliver millions. David faced Goliath because he carried a kingdom in his bloodline. Esther faced genocide because she was positioned to save a nation. And you faced hell itself because heaven has marked you for something that terrifies the kingdom of darkness. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. Ephesians 6:12 isn't poetry, it's your reality. While you thought you were fighting depression, you were actually wrestling destiny thieves. While you battled that unexplained illness, you were blocking generational curses from passing to your children. While you survived that financial ambush, you were actually protecting provision meant to fund kingdom purposes. But here's what the enemy never wanted you to discover. Every attack carried evidence of your significance. That health crisis that almost took you out, it came precisely when you were about to step into ministry. That family betrayal that shattered your heart, it happened right before a divine connection was scheduled. That business collapse that left you questioning everything, it occurred because hell saw the empire of influence God was about to build through you. You've been living in Daniel 10, chosen one. Remember when Daniel prayed for 21 days with no answer? When the angel finally arrived, he revealed something that changes everything. Since the first day that you set your mind to understand and humbled yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come because of your words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. Your prayers weren't ignored. They were intercepted. Your breakthrough wasn't delayed by God's indifference. It was contested by hell's interference. You've been waiting at a red light in the spirit, growing weary, questioning if the light will ever change. But heaven's hand is now flipping it green. The medical reports that predicted your demise, watch God rewrite them. The family members who turned their backs, watch reconciliation bloom from dead soil. The opportunities that evaporated, watch heaven open doors so magnificent that the closed ones will seem like mercy. Because every battle scar you carry is about to become a testimony that destroys someone else's doubt. Why do you think the attacks intensified in recent months? Why did it feel like all hell broke loose just when you thought you'd found peace? Because the enemy operates on spiritual intelligence. He saw your promotion papers being signed in heaven. He detected the shifting atmosphere around your life. He recognized that your season of hiddenness was ending and your season of manifestation was beginning. But he made one fatal mistake. He thought if he could make you bitter, he could disqualify you. He thought if he could break your body, he could stop your assignment. He thought if he could destroy your relationships, he could isolate you from destiny. He underestimated the God who turns graves into gardens, who transforms tombs into testimonies, who uses the enemy's best shot as setup for supernatural comeback. The delay wasn't punishment. It was a divine setup for your public vindication. Joseph understood this, sold at 17, imprisoned on false charges, forgotten by those he helped. 13 years of warfare, 13 years of questions. But when God flipped that switch, he went from prisoner to prime minister in one day. One day, chosen one. That's how fast heaven moves when the fullness of time arrives. Your health battles trained you in faith that will heal others. Your financial wilderness equipped you to manage the wealth transfer coming. Your relationship wounds prepared you to minister to the broken-hearted with authority born from experience. Every tear was collected. Every prayer was recorded. Every act of worship in the midst of warfare was witnessed by the cloud of witnesses who now celebrate your upcoming victory. The enemy wanted you to believe you were forgotten, that your prayers bounced off brass heavens, that God had moved on to younger, stronger, less complicated candidates. But prophets aren't chosen from the comfortable. Generals aren't developed in peacetime. World changers aren't forged in convenience. You've been in boot camp for a battlefield that required this level of preparation. The severity of your training matches the significance of your assignment. And now, heaven is about to reveal why hell fought so hard to stop you. But the revelation coming next will require you to see yourself through heaven's eyes, not through the lens of your pain. Because what God is about to unveil about your true identity will shatter every limiting belief the enemy planted during your warfare season. The battle scars are about to become beauty marks. The war is shifting in your favor, and the God who allowed the testing is about to demonstrate the power of divine vindication in ways that will leave no doubt about whose side he's on. Are you ready to discover what heaven has been preparing while hell was attacking? Chosen one, can you feel it? The temperature in your room just changed. Not physically, but spiritually. That heaviness you've been carrying for months, maybe years, it's starting to lift, like morning mist dissolving under the first rays of dawn. Something ancient is stirring. Something that was spoken over you before your first breath is finally awakening. The storm is not the end. It's the opening scene of your breakthrough. You know that feeling when the air gets thick before lightning strikes, when birds go silent and the whole world holds its breath. That's where you are right now. Standing in the sacred pause between what was and what's about to be, heaven has leaned over the edge of eternity and whispered your name. But let me ask you something that might shake you. Why does breakthrough feel so much like breaking? Why does the moment before your miracle feel like everything is falling apart? Because, chosen one, God doesn't patch up old wineskins. He creates new ones. And right now, he's not interested in fixing your situation. He's preparing to transform it completely. Think about Joshua. There he stood, facing the Jordan River at flood stage. Behind him, 40 years of wilderness. In front of him, raging waters that mocked every promise God had made. The priests stepped in first, carrying the ark. One step, two steps, water up to their ankles, then their knees. Can you imagine their hearts pounding? But the moment their feet fully committed, the moment they trusted beyond what they could see, the waters piled up. Not gradually. Suddenly, supernaturally. You're standing at your own Jordan right now, and yes, the waters look impossible. Yes, your knees are shaking. But what if I told you that your breakthrough is waiting for just one thing? Your next step of faith. Remember Elijah, this mighty prophet who called down fire from heaven, who faced 450 prophets of Baal without flinching. We find him under a broom tree, begging God to take his life. Depleted, defeated, done. But watch what happened. An angel touched him. Not with rebuke, but with bread. Not with judgment, but with water. God didn't lecture him about faith. He fed him. He let him sleep, then fed him again. Because sometimes, chosen one, the shift doesn't come through striving, it comes through surrender. Are you under your own broom tree today, wondering if you've run too far, fallen too hard, waited too long? Let me tell you what the Holy Spirit is speaking right now. The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He takes great delight in you. In his love he will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing. Did you catch that? The God of the universe, the one who spoke galaxies into existence, is singing over you. Not because of what you've done, not because you've been perfect, but because you're his. But here's where it gets intense. Isaiah cried out, "Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down, that the mountains would tremble before you." And chosen one, that prayer is being answered in your life right now. Those mountains, depression, debt, disease, disappointment, they're not just obstacles, they're about to become testimonies. The shift in the atmosphere isn't just coming, it's here. You might not see it with natural eyes yet, but your spirit knows. That restlessness you've been feeling, it's not anxiety, it's anticipation. That stirring in your chest when you pray, it's not imagination, it's activation. Those dreams that have been unusually vivid lately, they're not random, they're revelation. Let me tell you what's really happening. For years, maybe decades, the enemy has been building a case against you, stacking evidence, whispering accusations. Too old, too broken, too late, too many mistakes. He's been working overtime to convince you that your best days are behind you, that God has moved on to younger, stronger, more qualified vessels. But heaven is about to flip the script so dramatically that hell will be speechless. You see, while the enemy was building his case, God was building your comeback. Every tear you cried in secret, collected. Every prayer that seemed to hit the ceiling, heard. Every night you went to bed disappointed but still whispered, "I trust you, Lord," recorded. And now, the judge of all the earth is about to render his verdict. And it's going to shock everyone, including you. The atmosphere is shifting because heaven is invading earth on your behalf. Angels are being dispatched. Doors that have been locked for decades are creaking open. People who forgot you exist are about to remember your name. Opportunities you stopped praying for are racing toward your doorstep. But chosen one, here's the critical moment. This shift requires a response. When the atmosphere changes, you must change with it. You can't receive new wine with an old mindset. You can't walk into breakthrough while holding on to breakdown. If you feel the shift of an faintly type, "I feel it," in the comments. Heaven sees your yes. Because what's coming next isn't just a blessing. It's a complete reversal of everything the enemy planned for your life. The very thing that tried to destroy you is about to become the platform for your greatest testimony. The pain that almost took you out is about to become the power that propels you forward. Can you sense it? The wind is changing direction. The tide is turning. The atmosphere is electric with possibility. This isn't positive thinking. This is prophetic reality. And it's happening whether you're ready or not. But God, in His mercy, is giving you this moment to prepare, to position yourself, to open your hands and let go of what was never meant to travel with you into this next season. Because, chosen one, where you're going, you can't take the grave clothes. Where you're heading requires resurrection attire. The shift has begun. The only question now is, will you shift with it? Will you let heaven's wind fill your sails? Will you allow the God who parts seas and moves mountains to part the impossible in your life? The atmosphere is pregnant with miracle, and your breakthrough is about to be born. What happens next will leave you breathless, because when heaven shifts the atmosphere, earth has no choice but to align, and everything, absolutely everything, is about to change. Chosen one, there's a door standing before you right now. Not metaphorical, not someday, not maybe. A door with your name literally engraved in letters of fire, carved by the very finger of God. And it's already swinging open. But here's what will shock you. Most people will stand at the threshold their entire lives, admiring the door, talking about the door, even preaching about the door, but they'll never walk through it. They'll die inches away from their breakthrough because they confused seeing with stepping, believing with moving, hoping with possessing. Which one are you? God whispered something to me about you. He said you've been standing at doors all your life, knocking on the wrong ones, watching the right ones close, begging humans to open what only heaven controls. You've exhausted yourself trying to force open doors that God himself had sealed shut. And now, after all those years of disappointment, you've almost stopped believing that any door could actually be meant for you. But listen to what Jesus declares in Revelation 3:8. I know your deeds. See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. Did you catch that? No one can shut what God opens. Not your age, not your past, not your enemies, not the economy, not your diagnosis, not even your own doubt. When the King of Kings opens a door, all of hell's locksmiths working overtime cannot close it. Yet here you sit, paralyzed, analyzing the door instead of walking through it. You want 3 more confirmations. You want someone else to go first. You want a guarantee written in the clouds. But chosen one, faith doesn't work that way. Sometimes God's greatest confirmations come after obedience, not before. Think about Peter stepping out of the boat. The water didn't turn solid until his foot left the wood. Think about the Israelites at the Jordan River. The waters didn't part until the priest's feet touched the flood. Think about the widow pouring her last oil. The multiplication didn't begin until she started pouring. Your miracle is waiting on your movement. Let me tell you what this door really is, because it's not just wood and hinges. It's timing, favor, and fire wrapped together. It's every prayer you thought went unanswered, now converging into one massive yes. It's vindication for every time they said you were too old, too broken, too late. It's restoration compressed into opportunity. It's heaven's compensation for hell's persecution. But doors have expiration dates, even divine ones. Remember when Jesus healed at the pool of Bethesda? The crippled man had laid there for 38 years. 38 years. Watching others receive their miracle while he made excuses. I have no one to help me into the pool, he said. But Jesus didn't sympathize with his excuses. He commanded, get up, pick up your mat and walk. John 5:8. How many years have you been lying by your pool of possibility, rehearsing why you can't enter? How many decades have you spent perfecting your excuses instead of preparing for your exodus? The tragic truth is this: more miracles die in hesitation than in opposition. More destinies suffocate in analysis than in attack. The enemy doesn't need to destroy what procrastination will kill for free. You say, but I'm 70 years old. So was Moses when God called him. You say, but I've made too many mistakes. So had David when God restored him. You say, but I don't have the resources. Neither did the widow when Elijah showed up. God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And chosen one, you are called. Right now, heaven is watching. Angels are positioned. The cloud of witnesses mentioned in Hebrews 12:1 is leaning forward. Your loved ones who've gone before you are cheering from glory. All of creation is holding its breath, waiting to see if this time, you'll finally trust God more than you trust your fear. What if I told you that behind this door is the answer to the prayer you stopped praying? What if your prodigal is on the other side? What if your healing is waiting in the next room? What if the financial breakthrough that would secure your grandchildren's future is one step away? What if the ministry you buried after that church hurt you is about to resurrect with power? But here's what's controversial. God won't beg you. He won't coddle your dysfunction. He won't negotiate with your unbelief. The door is open, but it won't stay open forever. There's someone else in line who'll take your miracle if you won't. Remember the 10 virgins in Matthew 25? 5 had oil, 5 didn't. When the bridegroom arrived, the door opened for those who were ready. But for those who hesitated, who weren't prepared, who thought they had more time, the door shut, and no amount of knocking could open it again. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to save you from the regret of almost walked through, almost believed, almost obeyed, almost isn't enough in the kingdom. God doesn't honor good intentions. He honors faith-filled action. So here's my question, and it demands an answer. Will you keep studying the door, or will you walk through it? Will you remain a spectator of miracles, or become a participant? Will you die with your music still inside you, or will you finally sing the song heaven wrote for you before the foundations of the world? The door isn't just open, it's calling your name. Can you hear it? That sound isn't wind, it's the breath of God saying, come. That light isn't reflection, it's glory spilling out from your future. That warmth you feel isn't emotion, it's the fire of destiny drawing you forward. This is not another word. This is an open door. Don't wait for confirmation when heaven already said, go. Your legs may be trembling, but they still work. Your faith may be small, but it's still sufficient. Your moment may be late by human standards, but it's perfectly timed by heaven's clock. The door stands open, your name glows upon it. All of heaven holds its breath. What happens next changes everything. And it all depends on one question. Will you finally stop watching and start walking? Chosen one, let me ask you something that might shake the very foundation of everything you've believed about your pain. What if every single tear you've cried, every betrayal that broke you, every diagnosis that terrified you, every financial crisis that humbled you, what if none of it was meant to destroy you? What if the enemy's greatest attack on your life just became God's greatest setup for your comeback? Listen closely, because what I'm about to reveal will flip your entire story upside down. The devil thought he had you when that marriage crumbled after 40 years, when that child walked away from faith, when the doctor spoke those 3 words that changed everything, when your retirement vanished in a market crash. Satan stood back, admiring his handiwork, convinced he'd written your ending. But here's what hell didn't count on: God specializes in plot twists that leave demons speechless. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28 isn't just a pretty verse for greeting cards. It's a divine declaration of war against every scheme of darkness. Right now, in the courtroom of heaven, something unprecedented is happening. The very evidence Satan compiled against you, your failures, your doubts, your darkest moments, God is transforming into testimonies of triumph. What the enemy meant as Exhibit A for your destruction is becoming Chapter 1 of your destiny. Remember Thomas, the disciple who doubted? He demanded to see the scars before he'd believe, and Jesus didn't rebuke him. Instead, Christ showed his wounds not as marks of defeat, but as eternal proof of victory. Put your finger here, see my hands. Reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting and believe. John 20:27. Your scars aren't shameful secrets. They're scrolls of glory waiting to be unrolled. That bankruptcy that stripped you of everything, God's using it to teach you supernatural provision. That illness that brought you to your knees, it's becoming your platform for healing ministry. That rejection that isolated you, it positioned you to minister to the forgotten. Every single attack is being reversed into anointing. But here's where it gets controversial. Some of you have been so comfortable in your victim story that you're afraid of victory. You've rehearsed your pain so long, you don't know who you are without it. But God is saying, I didn't save you to leave you in Egypt. I saved you to send you back as a deliverer. The courtroom didn't just rule you innocent. It launched your assignment. Let that sink in. You weren't just acquitted, you were commissioned. Heaven didn't just clear your name. It gave you a mandate. That pain you survived, someone else is drowning in it right now, and you carry their lifeline. Think about Harriet Tubman. Escaped slavery at age 27, but that wasn't enough. She went back 19 times, leading over 300 souls to freedom. Her scars became their roadmap. Her pain became their passage. That's divine reversal. That's holy justice. At 60, 70, 80 years old, you might think your purpose has passed. But Moses was 80 when he confronted Pharaoh. Abraham was 75 when God called him to leave everything. Your gray hair isn't a disqualification, it's a crown of wisdom for the assignment ahead. Here's the holy fire truth that religious folks won't tell you. God isn't just interested in your comfort, He's invested in your calling. And sometimes He allows the furnace because He knows the gold it will produce. See, I have refined you, though not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. Isaiah 48:10. But now the furnace door is opening. Not for you to crawl out, but to walk out carrying fire. The enemy overplayed his hand. Every attack meant to diminish you only expanded your capacity for glory. Every loss designed to limit you only increased your authority. You're not returning to normal. You're advancing to extraordinary. Some of you lost children to addiction. Now God's making you a lighthouse for other parents in that darkness. Some watched your spouse slip away to Alzheimer's. Now you carry grace for caregivers others can't understand. Some buried dreams of ministry at 50. Now at 75, God says those dreams were just dormant, not dead. This isn't feel-good theology. This is fierce mercy meeting holy justice. God is so confident in His reversal power that He's taking the very weapons formed against you and reforging them into tools for kingdom advancement. No weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. Isaiah 54:17, not just defense refutation. You won't just survive accusations, you'll become living proof they were lies. But you must choose. Will you remain in the ashes, rehearsing your pain, or will you rise, wearing your scars like medals of honor, ready to lead others through battles you've already won? The courtroom of heaven has issued its verdict. What Satan stole, God is restoring sevenfold. What the enemy meant to bury you with, God is using to build with. Your setback was a setup. Your test is now testimony. Your mess has become your message. Your pain has birthed your purpose. Right now, if you feel that holy fire burning in your bones, if you sense destiny calling louder than history condemning, I need you to make a declaration. Type, I'm stepping into my assignment. Let it echo into eternity. Let heaven record it. Let hell tremble at it. Because chosen one, your divine reversal isn't coming. It's here. Your holy justice isn't pending. It's pronounced. And what God is about to do through your surrendered scars will shock everyone who counted you out. The destroyer has become the delivered. The victim has become the victor. And your greatest pain is about to birth someone else's greatest breakthrough. This is divine reversal. This is holy justice. This is your moment. Chosen one, what you're about to discover will shatter every assumption you've held about how heaven operates. Right now, in this very second, while you sit there wondering if anything is really changing, the most profound transformation of your life is already in motion. It's moving through invisible realms, shifting circumstances you can't yet see, arranging meetings that haven't happened, opening doors that still look closed. It's already moving even when you don't feel it. You've been taught that miracles arrive with thunder, that breakthroughs announce themselves with fanfare, that when God moves, you'll know it instantly. But what if I told you the most powerful moves of God happen in complete silence? What if the very stillness that's been troubling you is actually the sound of heaven rearranging your entire future? Remember the 10 lepers in Luke chapter 17? They cried out to Jesus from a distance, "Master, have mercy on us." And Jesus didn't touch them. He didn't pray over them. He didn't even come close. He simply said, "Go, show yourselves to the priests." That's it. No lightning, no immediate transformation, just an instruction that made no sense. But here's where it gets supernatural. Scripture says, "And as they went, they were cleansed, not when they arrived, not when they felt different. As they went, in the walking, in the obedience, in the space between the promise and the proof." Chosen one, you are in that sacred space right now. You're walking between the word spoken and the miracle manifested. And just like those lepers, your healing, your breakthrough, your answer is happening as you go, not when you arrive, not when you feel it. Right now, in the going. Your miracle is like dawn. It arrives silently, but shifts everything. Have you ever watched a sunrise? For hours, there's only darkness. Then, so gradually you almost miss it. The black becomes navy, the navy becomes purple, the purple becomes gold. And suddenly, without warning, the sun breaks the horizon and everything is transformed. That's your life right now. The darkness isn't getting darker because God has abandoned you. It's getting darker because dawn is about to break. How many mornings have you woken up checking for evidence that God heard you? How many times have you searched your circumstances for proof that heaven is working? But what if the absence of evidence isn't abandonment? What if it's architecture? What if God is building something so magnificent in the unseen that showing you now would actually sabotage the outcome? Think about Joseph. 13 years between his dream and his destiny. 13 years of slavery, false accusation, prison, and betrayal. Not a single sign that God remembered his promise. But in one day he went from prisoner to prime minister. Because the entire time he couldn't see God moving, God was positioning Pharaoh's heart, orchestrating a famine, preparing a nation to need exactly what Joseph carried. The stillness right now is not absence, it is alignment. Let me ask you something that might disturb your theology, but transform your faith. What if the silence you're feeling is not delay, but delivery? What if right now, while you're questioning whether God has forgotten you, He's actually in the final stages of the greatest setup of your life? What if every closed door was just heaven's way of keeping you from arriving before your blessing was ready? You see, we want microwave miracles, but God delivers crockpot transformation. We want to see every step, but God says, walk by faith, not by sight. We interpret silence as rejection, but heaven calls it preparation. We think stillness means nothing is happening, but in the spirit realm, stillness is often the sign that everything is happening. Remember Elijah on Mount Carmel? After 3.5 years of drought, God promised rain. Elijah prayed, then sent his servant to look toward the sea. 6 times the servant returned, saying, "There is nothing, nothing." Can you imagine? The prophet of God, who just called down fire from heaven, now looks foolish. 6 times nothing. But Elijah didn't check his feelings, he checked his faith. And on the 7th time, the servant saw a cloud the size of a man's hand. That tiny cloud became a storm that ended a national drought. The 6 nothings weren't failure, they were formation. The cloud was forming while the servant saw nothing. The miracle was mounting while the evidence was missing. Chosen one, your 7th time is here. That small cloud on your horizon, It's about to become a downpour of blessing. That whisper in your spirit saying, "Hold on," that's the sound of rain. That restlessness in your soul, that's not anxiety, that's anticipation. Your spirit knows what your eyes can't yet see. Right now, angels are having conversations about you. Right now, people you've never met are being prepared to bless you. Right now, solutions to problems you haven't even identified are being downloaded into hearts that will soon cross your path. Right now, while you're wondering if God has forgotten, He's actually orchestrating a symphony of synchronicities that will leave you breathless. But here's what heaven needs from you. Stop looking for proof and start living from promise. Stop measuring God's movement by what you can see and start trusting what He's already said. Because invisible obedience creates visible miracles every time, without exception. Abraham left his country before he knew where he was going. Noah built an ark before he saw a cloud. Mary said yes before she understood how. The pattern of heaven is clear. The obedience comes first. The evidence comes later. The walking comes first. The healing follows. What step is God asking you to take while the evidence is still hidden? What obedience is He requiring while the outcome is still unclear? That thing stirring in your heart right now that's not random, that's revelation. That inexplicable peace washing over you despite unchanged circumstances, that's not denial, that's divine assurance. The truth that will revolutionize your faith is this: God's best work happens off stage. While you're watching the curtain, He's arranging the next act. While you're focused on the silence, He's composing the symphony. While you're counting what's missing, He's calculating what's coming. If you believe God is working even in the quiet type, He's already moving. Let that declaration shift something in the atmosphere. Let it announce to both heaven and hell that you're walking by faith, not by sight, that you're trusting the process, not just the outcome. Because, chosen one, what's about to break forth in your life won't just surprise you, it will shock everyone who counted you out. The silence is about to shatter, the stillness is about to give birth. And when it does, you'll understand that every moment of waiting was actually a moment of preparation for something so magnificent, so divine, so perfectly orchestrated, that only God could get the glory. Your dawn is breaking. Can you see it yet? Chosen one, your miracle has a name on it. But what you don't realize is that it's not coming the way you think. It's not arriving on your timeline. It's not following your logic. Because when heaven interrupts without warning, it doesn't knock politely at your door. It kicks it down with divine authority. You've been planning for gradual change. You've been preparing for slow progress. But God is about to show you something that will leave you breathless. He's about to demonstrate why He's called the God of the suddenly. Remember Peter in Acts 12, chained between two guards, 16 soldiers watching, tomorrow's execution already scheduled. The church was praying, yes, but they were preparing for martyrdom, not miracle. Then at the darkest hour, when hope was thinnest, an angel appeared, not gradually, not gently, suddenly. The chains didn't loosen, they fell. The iron gate didn't creak, open, it swung wide by itself. Peter walked out while his enemies were still planning his death. That's the God you serve. The one who doesn't need your permission to shock your situation. Think about the Israelites at the Red Sea. Behind them, Pharaoh's army thundering closer. Before them, impossible waters. They had no boats, no bridge, no plan. Just terror and Moses' shaking staff. Then God said one word, move. And what happened? The sea didn't slowly recede, it split. Walls of water rose like liquid mountains. A highway appeared where death had waited. One moment, trapped. The next moment, delivered. God doesn't need a build-up. He just needs a moment. Hannah cried for years. Barren, mocked, empty arms and a broken heart. Year after year, same prayer, same tears, same silence. Until one day, God remembered, not gradually. Suddenly, her womb opened. Samuel was conceived. The woman they called cursed became the mother of a prophet who would anoint kings. Chosen one, do you understand what I'm telling you? Your situation doesn't need to improve slowly. Your breakthrough doesn't require a 10-step process. When God decides to move, He moves like lightning, instant, powerful, undeniable. It's not a gradual drizzle, it's a floodgate swing. Right now, you're looking at your bills thinking, how will this work out? You're looking at your health report thinking, this is permanent. You're looking at your family thinking, this is broken beyond repair. But you're calculating with human math. You're measuring with earthly rulers. You don't understand God specializes in the impossible instant. The widow in 2 Kings had nothing but debt and 1 jar of oil. Creditors at the door, sons about to become slaves. Then Elisha spoke, gather vessels. She probably thought he'd say gather money or find buyers. But no, just vessels, empty ones, as many as possible. And when she poured, the oil didn't increase gradually. It flowed, it multiplied, it overflowed until every vessel was full and her debt was gone. One day, poverty. Next day, provision. Are you hearing this? Really hearing it? Your breakthrough isn't scheduled for someday. It's not waiting for you to become perfect. It's not dependent on the economy, your age, your past, or your credentials. It's waiting on one thing, God's now. When Jesus spoke to the storm, He didn't negotiate with the wind. He commanded, peace, be still, instant calm. When He touched the leper, healing didn't take weeks, instant wholeness. When He called Lazarus, death didn't argue. Life erupted. And the same Jesus who commanded storms, sickness and death is looking at your situation right now. He sees what nobody else sees. He knows what nobody else knows. And He's about to do what nobody expects. You think you need a process. God says, I am the process. You think you need time. God says, I created time. You think you need connections. God says, I am your connection. There will be no warning, no logic, no announcement. Just an eruption of glory that silences your enemies and shocks even your expectations. Your enemies are about to be confused. They thought they had you figured out. They calculated your limitations. They measured your resources. They counted you out. But they didn't factor in the God of the suddenly. They didn't calculate divine interruption. They didn't measure heaven's investment in your life. When promotion comes overnight, when healing manifests instantly, when provision appears impossibly, when doors open supernaturally, they'll scramble for explanations, they'll search for logic. But you'll know it was Him. Listen closely, chosen one, that stirring in your spirit, that unexplainable anticipation. That's not wishful thinking, that's prophetic sensing. Your spirit knows what your mind hasn't grasped, yet you're standing at the edge of a divine suddenly. The phone call is coming. The test results are changing. The opportunity is forming. The connection is approaching. The miracle is descending. Not next year, not next month, any moment now. But here's what you must understand. God's suddenly requires you're ready. When He moves, you must move. When He speaks, you must listen. When He opens, you must walk through. The 5 wise virgins had oil when the bridegroom suddenly appeared. The 5 foolish ones were still shopping. Same announcement, same opportunity, different readiness, different results. So I ask you, when heaven interrupts your situation without warning, will you be ready? When the phone rings with the impossible news, will you receive it? When the door you've pushed against for years suddenly swings open, will you walk through? If you're ready for God to interrupt your situation, type, "Shock me, Lord." Because, chosen one, what's coming next isn't just change, it's divine disruption. And once it hits, nothing will ever be the same. Chosen one, there comes a moment when heaven stops sending messengers and the King himself walks through your door. Not in thunder, not in earthquake, not in fire, but in a whisper so personal, so intimate that only your spirit can decode it. Remember Elijah, the prophet who called down fire from heaven, who stopped rain for 3 years with a single prayer? After his greatest victory, he ran, terrified, exhausted, ready to die under a broom tree in the wilderness. And God could have sent another spectacular sign. Instead, he sent silence. Then wind that shattered rocks, but God wasn't in the wind. An earthquake that shook the mountain, but God wasn't in the earthquake. Fire that consumed everything, but God wasn't in the fire. Then came the still, small voice, the whisper that changed everything. You don't need thunder. You need clarity. And clarity doesn't shout, it settles into your bones like morning dew, gentle but undeniable. Right now, in this very second, can you feel it? That shift in the atmosphere? That's not your imagination. That's not emotion. That's the presence of the Almighty stepping into your personal space. He's done sending signs through circumstances. He's done speaking through other people's testimonies. God is no longer speaking to your crowd. He's whispering directly to you. And when God whispers your name, every demon trembles. You've been looking for God in the spectacular, but he's been waiting in the stillness. You've been scanning the skies for angels, but he's been sitting in the empty chair beside you. You've been turning up the volume, but he's been speaking in frequencies only broken hearts can hear. This is why you've felt that strange burning in your chest lately. Why certain words make you weep without warning. Why you wake at 3 a.m. with his name on your lips. He's not preparing to visit, he's already here. When God steps into the room, walls don't just fall. Conclusion. Chosen one, we've traveled far together in this sacred hour. Let me remind you of what heaven has declared over your life today. The waiting is over. The case is closed. The door is open. God himself has stepped into your room, not as a distant deity, but as a father who's been planning this moment since before you drew your first breath. You came here carrying questions that kept you awake at night. God, have you forgotten me? Is it too late for my miracle? Have I missed my moment? But now you know the truth. Every delay was divine protection. Every closed door was heaven's redirection. Every tear you shed in secret was collected in bottles of remembrance. You haven't been forgotten. You've been prepared. Remember this: when God shows up, he doesn't just change your circumstances, he changes you. The miracle isn't just what he's about to do for you, it's what he's already doing in you. Right now, as these words wash over your spirit, chains are breaking that you didn't even know you were wearing. Generational curses are being reversed. Divine doors are swinging open that no human hand can shut. But chosen one, here's what I need you to understand. You are not walking this path alone. Never have been, never will be. There are thousands of us scattered across cities and countries, in hospital rooms and empty houses, in boardrooms and break rooms, all carrying the same fire, all hearing the same call. We are your spiritual family. When you hurt, we feel it. When you break through, we celebrate. When you need prayer at 3 a.m., someone, somewhere, is already interceding for you. Right now, I want to ask you something that only you can answer. What would you do differently if you truly believed, not just in your head, but in your bones, that the next 24 hours would redefine your entire life? How would you pray? How would you move? How would you love? How would you forgive? Let's not wait another moment. Let's seal this divine appointment with prayer. Close your eyes if you can. Take a deep breath. Feel the weight of this moment. Heavenly Father, we come before you not as strangers, but as your chosen ones. Lord, You know every person listening to these words. You know their names, their stories, their secret battles, their silent tears. You've seen them fight fights no one else knows about. You've watched them stand when everything in them wanted to fall. Father, I ask you right now, in the mighty name of Jesus, release what you've been holding in heaven's storehouses. Open the floodgates of blessing over their health touch. Every cell, every organ, every system that needs your healing power. Open doors in their finances that have been bolted shut for years. Cancel debts supernaturally. Release provision from unexpected places. Give them divine wisdom for every financial decision ahead. Lord, restore their families. Bring the prodigals home. Heal marriages that look impossible to repair. Break the chains of addiction, depression, and generational trauma. Let this be the day their bloodline changes forever. Father, I pray for their mind silence every voice of condemnation, every whisper of worthlessness, every lie that says they're too old, too broken, too late. Fill their thoughts with your truth. They are chosen, they are loved, they are right on time. Lord, activate their spiritual gifts. Awaken dreams that have been sleeping. Resurrect visions that seem dead. Give them divine appointments, divine connections, divine opportunities that no one can explain except you. Most of all, Father, let them feel your presence so powerfully that they never doubt your love again. Let this be the moment they look back on and say, that's when everything changed. In Jesus' mighty name, we declare it done. Amen. Chosen one, if this word pierced your heart, if tears are flowing, if hope is rising, don't keep it to yourself. Type 777, I receive it in the comments below. Let heaven and earth witness your faith. Share your testimony. Ask your questions. We're here to pray with you, celebrate with you, believe with you. And please, share this message. Someone in your life needs this exact word at this exact moment. They're sitting in darkness, wondering if God remembers their name. Be the vessel that delivers their breakthrough. Hit that share button like it's a lifeline, because for someone, it will be. Thank you for staying until the end. Thank you for having ears to hear and a heart to receive. Your presence here matters more than you know. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Join this family of chosen ones who refuse to settle for ordinary when God is offering extraordinary. Remember, you're not alone, you're not forgotten, you're not too late. You're chosen, called and commissioned for such a time as this. The door is open, your miracle has your name on it. Now walk through in faith. Until we meet again, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you. May his presence go before you, and his peace guard your heart. The best is yet to come, chosen one. The best is yet to come.